Okay, in this video we're going to look at how to mount your piece of work in the card provided. There you go, you'll see. So it's been trimmed to fit exactly into the aperture card, and I'm going to just pop a little pencil cross inside the left hand front side of the mount. That will be useful later. Right, I'm going to do this with double-sided tape. I'm using branded double-sided tape. I have tried doing this using generic stuff that's a pound a roll from big craft hypermarkets or big craft shops, and I found that when you first do it, it seems okay, but then when you come back to it, it's kind of starting to come away. So it's always worth spending more and using a branded product. This is sellotape. I haven't tried Scotch tape. I imagine it's just as good. So you can see I've laid down a strip of the tape either side of the aperture, really close to the edge of the aperture. And I'm just doing one final little double check to make sure that it all fits nicely, and it does, and there's nothing going to be sticking out around the edges, and that there's enough there for the tape to stick to. That's important. Now here comes the fun bit. Pull off the backing from the sticky tape, the double tape. Can be a bit tricky. Sometimes you have to give it another go, give it a good rub, and then if you can't grab it, try another corner. There you go, giving up and going to the bottom there. So I pulled off the backing, and I've now got, that's all nice and sticky. So now I'm going to go do the same across the top. Now you'll notice I haven't measured and pre-cut the lengths, partly because that's tricky because you end up with lots of sticky bits before you stick them down. So I prefer to do it like this way, laying it straight on the work, holding the tape there in my left hand and snipping off the extra bit that I don't need. There we are. And then across the bottom as well. Again, really close to the edge of the aperture. In fact, directly in line with it. Snip again and peel off the backing from these bits of sticky tape. There we go. And the bottom one as well. So now we're going to take our piece of work, lay it down, make sure it's nice and clean, there's no fluff stuck to it, and then slowly lower the card down onto it, lining it up before letting it go properly down onto it. The best way to line it up is to make sure you've got the same amount of space, top and bottom, left and right. And then once you're sure it's in place, as I've done there, give it a good rub around with a nice clean hand. And we're going to stick that back bit down on there now. So I laid it down, as you saw there, to see just how far across that back bit went, because I wouldn't want to have any tape sticking out on the edge. So I'm going to lay my first piece of tape down that side. It's going, mostly it's on the fabric, but it's coming, overlapping a little bit onto the card. Now this time we're wanting to have our tape going nice and near the edge of the card rather than the aperture, because that's obviously now hidden away. So I'm going to do the same as I did last time, except I am now adding a diagonal piece across the back of the work itself. You might here want to put in a little piece of wadding, and I know some people do like to put a little piece of wadding, like for a quilt, in there to create a nice soft backing for your card. I might make another video where I do that. So I'm laying down the bits of sticky tape and peeling off the backing like we did last time. The side bits and then across the middle there. And it looks like I'm going to have to start again because someone's come in while I'm doing my voiceover. Well, I'll carry on. It'll be okay. Right, so get the sticky tape and go across the top and the bottom. You could do this with craft glue. I wouldn't use something like a Pritt stick, that's simply not strong enough. You need something like a PVA. But you've got to be very careful to use just this minimum amount, because you can end up with the card bubbling a bit and being a little, because the glue is wet and this is card after all, and it can sometimes buckle and be a little bit uneven if you use too much glue. I prefer to use the tape because you get a lovely clean edge. So we'll pull the backing off that diagonal piece, and then the bottom and the top. And now what we're going to do, this is where the little cross we drew on the inside cover becomes relevant, because this is now going to help us make sure we are sticking the correct bit down. When you've got something that's obviously one way up and right way up as a Christmas tree, you'll always, you can see instantly that you're sticking it the right way up. But if you had like a circular design and during your sticking on of tape you turn the card round, you might lose track of what's the front and what's the back. Good press down all the way around, and there it is, nice and neatly done. And there's your card. Perfect, ready to give.